welcome back to Brashedomics. There are a lot of buyers out there. Some of them are a little wet behind the ears and maybe don't exactly understand what they're getting themselves into. But when you go out and you're trying to buy a house, it's super important to really understand the market. Eric Robison joins us, and after 20 years in advertising, he's really become a unique residential real estate specialist in the Seattle metro market who really works to educate new buyers and even teaching first-time homebuyer classes a couple times a month. And Eric, you must see this. People come in pretty uneducated, not very prepared. And,
they come in, and I wouldn't say they're uneducated. They're just learning. It just takes time. You have to take them out. You have to educate them as fast as you can. The best way to do it is you have to take them out and start showing them the inventory. Because everybody has in their mind what their price is going to bring in. And until you walk out and you start seeing that inventory, you really don't grasp it. But one day out there of just power shopping, trust me, you'll know if it's overpriced, underpriced. You get a good clue of what you can afford.
Do you think that, right now you have the current market.
Right.
And it really does come down to the market is what people will pay for a house. That's what's driving it. What do you see as far as the current market, the inventories, the rise in prices? Where do you really see that hitting people in general, whether it's buyers or sellers?
Well, it's creating a lot of frustration in the neighborhood looking at the best house. But most everybody wants the desirable neighborhood with the best house, and they're faced with other buyers wanting it, and it's multiple offers again. So they're getting frustrated. They've had 3-4 times they've gone up for homes, and they haven't bought them. For the seller, on the other hand, they're happy. They're really happy. But
especially the ones who decided to wait till now from 6 months or a year ago.
Yeah, residential started in early spring. We started seeing multiple offers happen. A lot of it's driven right now is the inventories are very low. You can go out there. You see a lot of old inventory. It's overpriced. Yes, if it's the right house, you probably get a good deal. But anything new hitting the right price right now, the buyers are they're there. They're smart. They've been looking. They jump. In the same sense, too, though, for the sellers who've been underwater, this is good, for them. It's making them feel like prices are rising. Hopefully they'll get to a point where they'll be out of underwater and they can finally sell their home.
They can get out of the water.
Yep.
It's good. So Eric, tell us a little, there's some stats that actually support this. It's easy we are all really on the front lines of the real estate market, but there's data to back us up in some ways. Tell us a little bit about the data you found.
Well, you always need to look at data whenever you're thinking about a price on a home, but Case-Shiller Price Index is a great one to start. The last posted in April. They showed us back then that our prices in the Seattle area, we were at September 04 prices. But now, since April till June, Case-Shiller won't post again until September. But in June, the King County posted their price indexes, and the median price had jumped up to September 05 prices. So that's a whole year. So it'll be interesting come September what Case-Shiller says. I'm sure they're going to show a high jump like that. And all of that's being fueled by these multiple offers.
So, there's just a lot more buyers in the market, and...
Well, your buyers have jumped in finally. The ones that were sitting on the sidelines the last year or two were saying, well, we haven't seen the bottom of the market. They've all jumped in because they realize we hit the bottom.
Okay, so what does it take to be a buyer in today's market?
Don't get too emotionally attached to anything till you hear mutual acceptance. That's what I try to advise my buyers.
Must be hard, though, because, when you think you find that quote-unquote perfect home or the one you're going to pull the trigger on, you're like, please, please, please.
Right.
Well, especially after
emotional.
What Brad said, write a love letter about the house, get pictures of your kids in the bedrooms, and all of a sudden it's like, well...
Those love letters, they do work. They are a very effective tool, but then you could be sidelined by the whole cash offer that came in right behind you. Yeah. So they get frustrated.
Can't buy me love, Eric.
Everyone has a price tag.
So really, it comes down to that. A house may come up. You're not emotionally involved because you have to understand that it may or may not be yours.
Well, you can advise not to get emotionally involved, but they do get attached to it. But you just try to, keep it on the facts, and let's look at it and see how we can best approach it and get in there so we are the winning offer. But a lot of buyers, they get smarter every time they do it. When they're their 4th or 5th time going after a home, they're usually the ones that are going to get that home because they now know how to approach it.
And they're probably a little quicker on the trigger, I imagine.
They'll see it on day one, and they're ready to write that day. They'll go in there and they'll do pre-inspections. Their agent's going to be talking with that seller from the beginning.
We're here with Eric Robison with Eastlake Windermere. And so, Eric, that ability for a buyer, maybe it's a third or fourth or fifth house they've lost, and now they're going in and they're able to just make an offer. What are some of the strategies that buyer will have learned by the fourth or fifth time?
Well, you're probably going to have to offer more money. So if you can spend only $500,000, you better be looking at a house that's $450,000, $475,000. Pre-inspections, that puts you at the top over them because they'll look at those always over the ones who haven't done the pre-inspections. The letters help. And then beyond that, it's just you have to size up the situation because every situation is different. Just last week, we were up against a condo, 19 offers. We thought, no, we're not going to play against this because the condo market is heating up now. Mm-hmm. Instead, we turned around, went back to another condo we saw that just came back on the market that had 3 offers. One came back. We jumped in at the very last minute, but we strategized it to wait. And we went in and we got it because the other one didn't have time. And the agent said, you're better, and the seller just jumped. Well, so, I mean, the strategies are always different.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that same thing. I guess going back to the baseball analogy, on a day that Felix Hernandez pitches a perfect game, every hitter, everybody who goes up to the plate, every hitter is different. It takes different pitches to strike them out in the same way it takes different ways to, effectively buy a home.
Yeah.
Different strategies.
Our goal is to get a home run for our team.
That's right. Eric, so what do you see then kind of in the future?
Well, it'll be interesting after Labor Day because typically after Labor Day we start seeing a surge of new homes hitting the market again because a lot of people hold back in late July and August because a lot of people are on vacation. So it'll be interesting if enough come on to increase the inventory so it becomes a little more even playing field. Come next spring, though, that'll be the real telling story to see if our market really is holding at the new price levels and if we're going to continue to see any rises.
So, you think you're almost, not a lot of, there's not too much action, especially come November, December, January.
Well, no, there's a lot of action going on, but it's definitely less than you do early spring through summer. A lot of buyers will start taking time off because of the holidays. And again, sellers will put on till about mid-October, but then agents are starting to tell them, let's wait to early spring. There'll be more buyers. There'll be a better opportunity. But in the same sense, people still do list in that period. And if you're a good house and you've got a lot of buyers who've been waiting, it might be a good time. I mean, if I had a good listing right now, I wouldn't wait till September. I'd be like putting it on right now because I know the buyers are out there. And if you're a good house, they're going to jump fast and you probably get multiple.
Yeah. Well, and I think in that same breath, when you think about the fact that there's such low inventory now, just like if people aren't putting their house on in the winter, that means there's less houses you're competing against. So it does kind of, each has its own strategy depending on
everything in strategy through it. I mean, it's hard to predict real estate. It's, you shake the 8 ball and hope it comes out right for you. Absolutely.
So, Eric, if you're on the fence right now and you're a seller, you're kind of thinking about this. Is it the right time? Is it not? What do you recommend? What questions should a potential seller be asking themselves?
Right now, potential sellers should be asking, what would my home be worth right now? And if it's worth to where you can sell it, I would say if you were a really good home and you were thinking waiting until next spring, you might want to reconsider. Because right now it's a hot market and there's a lot of buyers. We can't predict in 6 months all these buyers are still all going to be there and that there will be continuing buyers coming in. It could be slowed. It can slow down next spring. We could have a lot more inventory out there. They may have to sit a little longer. It's hard to predict.
Well, especially there's so many factors too. With rates being low, there's more buyers. And, we've all seen international affairs can cause circuses in the U.S. economy. So it's always tough to judge the future.
Yeah, if I could judge the future, I wouldn't be talking here now. I'd be retired.
That's what Ben always says.
I would be on boats.
Yep.
Eric, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, Eric Robison, managing broker with Windermere Real Estate. When we come back, Aubrey Cohen's going to join us, the real estate reporter for the Seattle PI, talk about a couple of his recent articles. We'll be right back after this break. You're listening to Brashenomics.